recess. Yes, you're recognized. Please let us know who you are and who you represent.
Matt King, Committee Counsel with the Office of Legal Services. Chairman, I guess, could I have someone recap the question?
Yes. Senator Hensley, if you would recap that. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Reeves, if you would, the question to our legal.
Sure. I just want to have clarity based on the governor's concern on whether or not this section of the bill is mandating businesses to accept natural immunity. And if basically, if it's a mandate, that's what I want to know.
Okay. The part of the bill, excuse me, that is at issue here is the Section 2A2, or A1, excuse me, it says fails to recognize natural immunity. And so this, the provision here that's at issue as well includes a defined term from Title 14, arising from COVID-19, which includes all of the policies and procedures, testing, monitoring, collecting, using designated manufacturing, providing PPE, closing, altering hours, things of that nature. So because it uses that broad arising from COVID-19 term, it essentially means that any type of policy or procedure that a business puts in place has to recognize natural immunity. So in that sense, to your point, it would be requiring that they recognize natural immunity as part of that policy or procedure that they are putting in place.
Further questions? Senator Watson?
And this, I'm just trying to tease this a little bit, and Representative Senator Hensley, you may need to help me, but the way I read it is, in those policy and procedures, it's equal to if they were using the vaccination, correct? So he's equating,
yes.
In his bill, he is trying to equate natural immunity with the vaccination, so that if in those same policy and procedures they had a vaccination requirement, it would be equal to acquired immunity. And I'll yield to the sponsor.
Senator Hensley.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. It's if they have a vaccine mandate or policy, they would just have to allow natural immunity, which is serving the same as the vaccine, and it's not adding anything to businesses. I think it's allowing them to see more customers and have more people work for them, because many people have natural immunity, which is the same, if not better in my mind, than the vaccine anyway. But I don't see it as putting any more mandates on businesses than we already have with the vaccines, if they are mandating the vaccine.
Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So they could do nothing, and this wouldn't apply?
That's correct, yes. If they're doing nothing, they don't have to do this. No, it's just if they're requiring a vaccine, they just have to allow someone to use natural immunity.
Can we change, I'm sorry.
Yes, Senator Reeves.
Can we change shall to may? They may do this? No? That's it.
No.
Okay.
Further discussion while we're in recess. Senator Yarborough.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just want to, so, I mean, this is actually, so natural immunity is something that they actually look at in the sort of European vaccine passport universe, but like usually when that happens, there's a time limit on that. So like in the people that have done this, and used this, have usually said that this is there's a 6-month window from a natural immunity. I know we at least have members that have had.
I think one of our physicians can answer that if we would very quickly.
Well, yeah, and I would love to get.
Yeah, excuse me, scientifically. Thank you, Mr. Chair. SARS-CoV-1, individuals who recovered from SARS-CoV-1 are still immune 18 years later. This virus is 80% similar. Those same individuals have immunity to SARS-CoV-2. In Europe, they're actually dropping their requirements. They've recognized natural immunity for a long time concerning this as well already. We know the individuals infected in the pandemic early in Italy are still immune from several studies. All indications are with SARS viruses that the immunity is durable, broad, and long-lasting, and much broader than a vaccine immunity, because vaccine covers one protein, whereas a natural infection covers all 28 other proteins of the virus. So if the spike mutates and you have a vaccine, now you can get infected like we saw so many people do with Omicron. That's why the shots don't work anymore, because that Wuhan shot hasn't been changed. Omicron is here. It's a moot shot. So there should be no mandates for vaccines anymore either. But at the same time, those who had a broad natural infection still remember 28 of the proteins on the virus. So we know historically, and we know from the studies thus far for 2 years out from Italy, that yes, immunity is broad, durable, and long-lasting. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Yes, very quickly.
I did want to acknowledge that the senator is technically correct, that there has been a policy of placing a time limit, but those policies now are being rescinded as the European Union is rescinding the vaccine passport process. So, but I did wanted to acknowledge the technical truth in what the senator is mentioning. Over.
Thank you. Yes, Senator Reeves?
I'm sorry to belay this. So let's say there's a nurse that works for an oncology office, and they're dealing with immunocompromised patients every day. And she comes to work, and there's another outbreak, and she says, well, I have natural immunity. Do we need to define how that's going to be? Does she need to go get an antibody test? It's in the amendment?
The amendment does define that it has to be with a lab test or verified by a physician or by several different lab tests.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess a question to the sponsor from the chairman. Our hospitals are asking if they are exempt from this. They think they are. The question has been asked if that is the case.
Mr. Chairman, the bill says a governmental entity, local education agency, or school, and then a private business. So it does not specifically say hospitals unless perhaps they're a governmental entity. But regardless of that, I'm not saying that they can't mandate a vaccine, but they just have to allow someone who is just as immune. That's the whole issue with the bill, is we're saying you either believe natural immunity is as good as a vaccine or you don't. And so I believe it is.
I think we have an answer from our legal on that.
Okay.
Let's yield to him very quick.
Chairman, to the point about the hospitals, because this does use those defined terms of governmental entity and private business, those facilities would be exempted to the same extent that they're exempt from those definitions already.
So hospitals are exempt. Yes. All right. Good. Okay. Thank you so much for your testimony. I think we're good. Further discussion on the bill. Question on the bill? Wait a minute. We are on the amendment. Question on the amendment. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? We are on the bill. Mr. Secretary, if you would call the roll on the Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we have enough questions here in trying to figure this out that I'd like to ask the sponsor to roll this and give us an opportunity to dig in this a little bit more.
Roll it to where? This is the last meeting, according to the chairman, but I certainly don't want to get the bill voted down, but I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'd be happy to roll it if it's not the last meeting, but I think there's been a lot of discussion. We have the witnesses.
Yeah. Let's put it to the heel and see where we are, okay?
Okay.
We'll put it to the heel and see where we are.
Roll it to the hill.
All right, thank you. Senator Watson, you're recognized on, I'm sorry, wait.
Is this 2449, Mr. Chairman?
Let's see here.
I think I'm carrying this forward to Governor McNally.
Let me look here.
Speaker Sexton.
What number are you on?
Well, it's Bill number 2449.
10. Yes, that's it.
Okay. Well, for purposes of bringing up an amendment which will make the bill, I'd move 2449.
It's been moved and seconded. We are on the amendment that makes the bill. I'll move the bill.
I'll second the bill.
We are on the amendment.
I'll move the amendment. Okay.
It's been moved and seconded. You're
Mr.
on.
Chairman, during the special session in October, we passed legislation that put restrictions on the Board of Medical Examiners of how they discipline license holders for dispensing and prescribing treatments for COVID-19. This amendment that is proposed to the committee today would close an unintended loophole that we may have created with the board, that they could not discipline license holders for prescribing or over-prescribing opioids and using COVID as an excuse for doing so. I don't think any member of this committee wants to see a proliferation of the use of opioids under any conditions, and this amendment would close that loophole. With that explanation, I move adoption of this would be Health Committee Amendment number 1.
Discussion on the amendment. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? We are on the bill. It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, call the roll, please.
Senator Hale. Votes aye. Senator Hensley. Votes aye. Senator Jackson. Votes aye. Senator Massey. Votes aye. Senator Reeves. Votes aye. Senator Swan. Votes aye. Senator Watson. Votes aye. Senator Yarborough. Votes aye. Chairman Crow.
Aye.
Votes aye. Mr. Chairman, you have
Bill passes, goes to calendar. All right, yield the gavel to Vice Chairman Hale.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're on item 5, Senate Bill 2574 by Chairman Crow. Chairman Crow, you're recognized.
Thank you. This will be the final bill, I think, on our COVID calendar, with the exception of the one we rolled to the heel. Then we'll take up Senator Briggs's bills and Senator Gardenhire. So this would require, I do have an amendment that makes the bill.
We need a motion. I'll make a motion on the bill. Senator Crow seconds. On the amendment, drafting code 014796, is that correct?
That's correct.
I move the amendment. Senator Crow seconds the amendment. We're on the amendment
Okay.
for discussion.
This bill came to me from our Lieutenant Governor, wanting to make sure that visitation would be present during not only emergency times, but in normal times as well for patients. So the bill actually requires that a long-term care facility must allow residents to have visitors during end-of-life situations during a period of time when a disaster emergency or public health emergency for COVID-19 has been declared. And it also makes clear that during normal conditions, other than during public health emergencies, nursing homes must allow residents to receive visitors of their choice within the facility and within their room without limits on the frequency or duration of visits for residents, the number of visitors, requirements for advanced scheduling, et cetera. And it makes sure that all the rules have to be followed, CMS, all of that. It's been worked out by the nursing home and long-term care people, as well as pretty much everyone else involved. With that, I would
You've heard
Move
the
the
explanation of the amendment. Have any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes carry. The amendment's adopted. We're back on the bill as amended. Discussion on the bill. Senator Hensley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to say that I certainly agree with this bill, and we've seen too many people in nursing homes that have died alone, and we don't, I hope that we never see that happen again with any kind of emergency, and so allowing them to have a family member is certainly something that we need to do. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Hensley. Any additional discussion on the bill? If you'll take the vote, please.
Senator Hale.
Aye.
Votes aye. Senator Hensley. Votes aye. Senator Jackson. Votes aye. Senator Massey. Votes aye. Senator Reeves. Votes aye. Senator Swan. Votes aye. Senator Watson. Senator Yarborough. Chairman Crow.
Aye.
Votes aye, Mr. Chairman. You have 7 ayes.
Thank you.
The bill passes 7-0 and goes to calendar. Hammer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. All right, we're back on number 28. Dr. Briggs is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I actually have 4 bills that I'm going to present. I hope these go through pretty quickly. I think they're pretty straightforward. The first bill that I have is Senate Bill 2485. And would you like to have it properly before the committee before I give an explanation, or give an explanation first?
It's been moved and seconded. There are no amendments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This bill was brought to me by Vanderbilt Medical Center. Presently in state law, when you have a foreign medical graduate that's coming for treatment, not for treatment, but for training at Vanderbilt Medical Center, the law says they must have completed a 3-year residency overseas in an approved program. The problem is that some of these individuals that are coming for training may have performed 3 years of satisfactory training, but they haven't completed a residency in that. And what this bill would allow them to do would be allow them to come into the country and eventually receive a license, even though they haven't completed a residency. They have completed 3 years of successful training overseas when they come in. Let me just give you an example. You may have someone that wants to come to Vanderbilt to be trained as a neurosurgeon. He may have done 3 years of general surgery training overseas, but you have to do 5 years before you've completed a successful residency. But if you've successfully completed 3 years, then this would allow you to eventually be licensed in Tennessee. And that, Mr. Chairman, is the bill.
Thank you. You've heard the bill. We are on the bill. Discussion. Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, if you would call the roll.
Senator Hale? Votes aye. Senator Hensley? Votes aye. Senator Jackson? Votes aye. Senator Massey? Votes aye. Senator Reeves?